As you know, and as I will tell you constantly, Ben has to work quite hard. And he's always trying to track people down. So every week I give him a chance to just have a go at those who have not been cooperative.
Yes, you do, Sean. This is my cathartic outburst on a Friday that I like to do. It's Holier Than Thou. It's been a bumper week, actually, and a bumper edition of Holier Than Thou will follow suit. Largely dominating the theme this week has been the advertising policy of the New Zealand Herald, who've been getting pelters for their decision to take money from Hobson's pledge. Now, aside from being a bit annoying, as I find all ads to be, I couldn't see much wrong with what was written factually speaking. But in response to the ad being published, the news media certainly managed to, and that's who's going to kind of make the list this week. They've rolled out this impressive army of fashionable experts and softy academics, plopped them on the TV and got them to say exactly what was wrong with which parts of the ads, with laser-focused specificity, were wrong or misleading. But they didn't quite manage that. What they actually did in the coverage I've seen was make up a wide range of these presuppositions about what they thought the ad was implying, and then told everyone what was incorrect about the assumptions that they made. A group of illegal experts were quoted in the Herald's own Media Insider this week, suggesting that there can be no restoring of the foreshore and seabed to public ownership because it was never owned by anyone in the first place. Well, that's a ridiculous point, because if a thing's owned by no one, it's got the same practical effect on the wider public as if it was owned by everyone. And actually, the original legislation under Helen Clark gave those titles to Crown ownership. So it wasn't until it was overturned in 2011 by the Customary Marine Titles Act or whatever that it became that. So basically, the legal equivalent there of saying nah. And then the ad, they later implied the ad said that custom marine titles would prevent New Zealanders from accessing beaches, including to fish and swim, and that's incorrect. Well, that absolutely is incorrect, and it absolutely wasn't said anywhere on the advertisement, which consisted mainly of a picture of New Zealand with a red outline and a caption saying these areas might be customary marine titles. So after misleading people on what the ad actually said, I tried to talk to the people that fronted to the media on this. Most of them ignored me or got annoyed with me for contacting them at all, or couldn't actually tell me where the advertisement was specifically misleading or incorrect. With that said, the first voice in the chorus of outrage this week was the so-called Māori Journalists Association. Now, I, like many of you lot, hadn't once heard of the Māori Journalists Association, didn't really know they were a thing, never been mentioned much in the media before, never put out a statement, registered as a group, nothing. Waitea News boss Matt Tukaki hadn't really heard of them either. But seemingly out of nowhere, this group suddenly makes headlines with a media release about not liking Don Brash. They're being quoted by RNZ, Stuff, One News, the whole lot. They're going, breaking news. The Māori Journalists Association said this, like the Reserve Bank had just put out a statement or something. The group's co-headed by former Radio New Zealand broadcaster Marnie Dunlop, whose already precarious journalistic dispassion seems now to have entirely evaporated after this sort of PR activist stunt. Of course, we tried getting either of the group spokespeople on to figure out why an association described as a representative group for journalists were concerning themselves with the advertising policy of a local newspaper, but this was very difficult. It was very difficult because they don't have a website, they don't have a phone number, don't have an email address, a list of members, a headquarters, or even a group or company profile. So they're not really an association. They're a Facebook page, which I sent a message to and which they ignored. So let's have a little bit more transparency if we're going to get our mates in the media to cover our social media posts and then run away. Next on the list is a lawyer and law academic, Carwyn Jones. You may remember earlier in the week he was referenced by Matt Tukaki as having given legal counsel on the contents of the foreshore and seabed advertisement. But upon pressing further, we found that this legal counsel was just an interview on Breakfast. Carwyn Jones, he's this lawyer, sort of law academic that appeared on Breakfast Telly briefly and said woke things about the sea and then wouldn't appear on our show to back them up. I sent him a friendly email asking him on our program to expand upon his point. He replied with, I will never be available for the platform. So thanks, Mr. Jones. That is a most unacademic approach to life and dialogue, and your attitude is symptomatic of the moribund state that we find our civil discourse languishing within. That is Holier Than Thou for this week. Thank you, Sean.